A Living Fossil, Glass Sponge Reefs. Presented by Claudia Woodward. Brought to you by Seascovery. While dinosaurs dominated the land, massive glass sponge reefs, Hexactinellida, covered the seafloor, stretching high up to the surface. Believed to have gone extinct more than 40 million years ago, living glass sponge reefs were discovered off the coast of British Columbia. Glass sponge reefs currently are only found in deep waters off the coast of the Pacific Northwest in Canada and the United States, but glass sponges are one of the oldest and simplest organisms still alive on this planet. While they have no eyes to see or stomachs to break down food like we do, glass sponges do some pretty incredible things. Glass sponge reefs are made up of spinnicles, or glass-like structures, which provide an important home to many different forms of aquatic life, as well as filter bacteria in the water. Some glass sponge reefs are over 8 stories tall and can take up hundreds of kilometers of the ocean floor. Glass sponges get their name from their spinnicles being made up of silica, which is also what glass is made of. This makes glass sponges incredibly delicate and can easily be destroyed by fishing gear that is dragged along the bottom of the ocean floors. Disruption of sediment found at the ocean floor can also lead to glass sponges being suffocated. Canadian scientists first discovered glass sponge reefs to not be extinct in 1987 when a team found a 9,000-year-old living reef off the north coast of BC. Prior to the discovery of the reef in BC, the only knowledge of glass sponge reefs was from a giant fossil of a reef found in the Ithaca Sea. Located in current-day Central Europe, this reef spanned more than 7,000 kilometers around 200 million years ago. Glass sponges are thought to have appeared 570 million years ago, long before fish or dinosaurs, and the first glass sponge reef was formed 220 million years ago. These reefs then thrived for another 180 million years, lasting longer than the dinosaurs ever roamed on land before they appeared to die out. Although individual species of glass sponge could be found across the Earth's ocean, no fossilized reef younger than 40 million years old has ever been found, and living reefs were thought to have no longer existed. Glass sponge reefs are special as they form when glass sponges build on top of. The discovery of the glass sponge reefs in the Hecate Strait and then in the Queen Charlotte Sound were some of the biggest and most important scientific discoveries of its time. The Hecate Strait glass sponge reefs being by far the largest living glass sponge reefs, covering hundreds of square kilometers of the seafloor. They are primarily made up of 3 types of glass sponge: the finger goblet sponge, or Heterochrocalix, the cloud sponge, or the Afrocalistis vastus, and the fragile cloud-like Phera octa, which has no common name. As more about glass reefs were being discovered and more reef sites found, fishing industries had increased production, leading to an estimated loss of half of the surviving reefs. The discovery of the glass sponge reefs in the Hecate Strait and then in the Queen Charlotte Sound were some of the biggest and most important scientific discoveries of its time. The Hecate Strait glass sponge reefs being by far the largest living glass sponge reefs, covering hundreds of square kilometers of the seafloor. They are primarily made up of 3 types of glass sponge: the finger goblet sponge, or Heterochrocalix, the cloud sponge, or the Afrocalistis vastus, and the fragile cloud-like Phera octa, which has no common name. As more about glass reefs were being discovered and more reef sites found, fishing industries had increased production, leading to an estimated loss of half of the surviving reefs. Glass sponges are incredibly slow growing, 1 meter of growth taking up to 220 years. That means that destroyed reefs will take centuries to recover, if they recover at all. Luckily, the Canadian government, local conservationists, scientists, and fishermen have been working hard to create protected waters around the last surviving reefs. In 2001, voluntary closures were put in place by the fishing industry to stop the destruction that trawling caused the reefs. And in 2002, a mandatory closure regulation made it illegal to bottom trawl over reefs. While we may never get back the glass sponge reefs that were destroyed, we can still maintain and protect the remaining reefs. Much can still be learned about glass sponge reefs. Thank you for watching this video. To learn more about ocean conservation and marine animals, please subscribe to Seascovery and follow us on Instagram. To learn more about glass sponge reefs, please check out CPAWS. A link to their website can be found in the description below.